let's start learning the important concept of the object oriented programming, which is known as the inheritance. Okay, so what is the inheritance? So in the object oriented programming, the class can be inherited, right? Okay, and so far we have discussed that the class in the Java would have its state as well as behavior. Okay, so these are the two important concepts related to class, which is known as what? State and the behavior. Okay, so state means what? The variable or data that you declare. Okay, so here I'm just writing that whatever data you declare in the class, that is known as the state. Okay, and the data could be like the variable or the constant, right? And behavior, what is behavior? Behavior means the method inside the class. Okay, so how the class is going to respond on the certain event, right? So every class would have two things, that is a state and behavior, right? So basically in inheritance, what happens that, okay, the class would be having a data and method that would be inherited by the extending class or the subclass. Okay, so basically in the inheritance there is a concept like the parent class. Okay, there would be a parent class and there would be a child class. Okay, so here you can see we have the example over here. Consider that there is a bicycle class. Okay, that is the parent class. This bicycle class is a parent class, and all these bikes like mountain bike, road bike and the tandem bike, all are a child class or the children class. So this is what we should keep in our mind related to the inheritance. And obviously this also enables us to apply the concept of polymorphism, right, with the help of overriding. Okay, so we will come back to this particular term overriding later on. Let's go ahead. So here you can see this is the very simple example of inheritance. Like consider that there is a superclass or a parent class called dog, right, which has three subclasses. Okay, so here what you can say, that here you can say that the pug is dog. Okay, you can say pug is dog, right? But you cannot say that the dog is a pug. Okay, so we should keep this in mind, right? So here I can say that whatever dog subclass we have, we can say that particular subclass is a dog, right? But it is not necessary that dog is pug. Could be any dog, any class of the dog, right? So basically the thing we should remember over here is that the inheritance satisfy is a relationship. So here that is what mentioned, like pug is a dog. So consider the following program. Now here I am going to show you the real example of the inheritance we use. Okay, either knowingly or unknowingly. Okay, let me show you the example. Consider that we have our own class called class main. Okay, inside the main class we have declared one instance variable, that is I, which is initialized with the value 10, and also we have a main method that is to run this class. Okay, and here we have created the object of this main class by just writing that main m1 is equal to new main. Then I have one more object of the main class, that is main m2 is equal to new main. Okay, and here that this m1, okay, and m2 both are the reference variable of main objects, right? And then what we are doing, that we are calling a toString method. Now here surprisingly you can see that there is no method declared inside this main class. We have just only one method, that is a main method. Okay, that is that is a main method. But here what we are doing, we are calling a toString method with the help of reference of m1. Okay, similarly the another statement we have, that now with the help of m1 reference we are calling the equals method. Okay, and here we are trying to compare both of the reference variable m1 and reference variable m2. Okay, and that's it. So the class definition is over. Okay, now here we should understand that even though this main class is not having this toString method or equal method, right, equals method, then how or why it is possible that we can call this toString method or equals method. Okay, so when you will run this program, at that time this program is going to run successfully. Okay, and it is going to print the values like this, that like main at the rate some value, and this is going to give me the false result because this m and m2 reference variables are pointing to the different object. Okay, so now the main question over here is that how we are calling this toString method or equals method in this or of this class. Okay, so every class in a Java extends one class which is known as the object class, right? So here the main class we have declared. Okay, so implicitly its declaration is like this, that main extends object. Okay, and if you see the documentation of the object class, let me show you the documentation of the object class. So here if you see, this is the documentation of the object class, which is the super class of any Java class, right? And if you see the method of the object class, there you will find the methods which we are using. Okay, so the method is what? ToString. Okay, and another method that we are using in our example is the equals. Okay, so now let's go back to our presentation. So here now you should get an idea that this the main class has extended the object class. Okay, so here what I can say? I can say that the main is an object, right? So here that main class would able to access all the properties or all the members which are declared in the object class, and this toString, the method toString, okay, and the equals both are part of what? Object class. That's why it is possible that we can call those two methods with the help of reference of main class. The reason is that main class is extending the object. Okay, right? So here we have used the keyword. Okay, this is the keyword that is used to define the inheritance, right? So if I want to extend some class, or if I want to inherit the class, I must have to use the extend keyword. I must have to use the extend keyword. Okay, so this extends keyword defines the inheritance. Okay, what else? This is the ultimate superclass of all the Java classes, right? So whether you mention or not, by default this is going to become a superclass of all the Java classes. Like the here we have the example of the main. Okay, and here if you will try to pass the test, that is a easer test of like object oriented programming, then this will pass that test. Okay, so ideally I can say that main is an object. Okay, let's go ahead. So what is the advantage? Okay, so let's try to see the advantage. So here you can see that the main class you can declare the method called toString, okay, which is having a same exactly same structure which we have in the object class like this. If I will show you the implementation or the documentation, so here you can see that we have a public string toString method, right? Okay, so here you can see that you can have a similar implementation in your subclass. This is our subclass, right? The main is what? It is a subclass or a child class. Child class. Okay. Child class of the object class. Right. So we have created our own implementation of the toString method, which is there in the object class already. So now here you would have a question that why do we require this? Okay. So this is because of what? If we want to provide a support of overriding, or that I don't like the implementation of the toString which is there inside the object class, then I will have my own implementation of that method in the subclass or the child class, and that particular thing is known as the method overriding. So here basically what we have done, the toString method is already implemented in the object class, and that I am re-implementing in the main class, right? So this concept is known as what? It is known as the method overriding. Okay, so now if I will execute the same statement once again, that is m1.toString, at that time, now rather than printing that particular value like main, at the rate, and some value, okay, it would print the main class. Okay, that is what we have mentioned inside the method. So this particular concept is known as the method overriding. So inheritance can be implemented using the classes as well as interfaces. So far, whichever example that we have seen, that was the with the help of classes. Okay, we will come to this point, that is the interface, later on. Okay, so what are the reasons to use the inheritance? Okay, so let's see the reason. You can reuse the code, that whatever code that you have already made. Okay, and if you want to use the same code, if you require to use the same code in another application, then you can do that with the help of inheritance. Okay, another advantage is that you can extend the functionality. Okay, something is there in one class, and if you want to add some more functionality, so what you can do, rather than rewriting that class once again, you can create a child class of that class or a subclass of that class, and you can declare the function inside that. Okay, so that basically that would be extending the functionality. The third one is that will promote the polymorphism, like method overriding. Okay, so suppose if you don't like the implementation which is there in the superclass, and if you want to provide your own implementation of the method, then you should go with the inheritance. Okay, let's see the example. So here you can see there is a class called encryption. Okay, assume that we have declared the class called encryption, which has two member variables like input and output, and there are two functions, encrypted string and decrypted string. Okay, and these two methods just return the output and the input. Okay, and here you can see that we have a method called do encryption and do decryption. What this encryption does, that encryption, that whatever input you will provide to this or you will set to this class, that would be added with one value, some random value, let's say 123. Okay, and it will do the addition and will produce the output, means it will set this instance variable. Similarly, decryption is doing the reversing, that is whatever value that we had added, just we are subtracting, so that we will get back the input, right? So this is the class which we have declared. Okay, now let's see one more class. Suppose if I don't like the do encryption method uh, provided over here, I feel that this is very simple, like operation. Okay, encryption operation should be always complex. Okay, so I felt that this is the simple operation. Okay, I didn't like that. Okay, so I will have my own implementation. Okay, I want to keep the variables as it is, that input and output. Okay, just want to change this particular implementation of the methods. Okay, so what I will be doing, that I will have my own class called my encryption. Okay, that extend the encryption. Now what would be the advantage, that here I don't require to declare that output and input. Okay, so that is what, that is reusability. Okay, but here I am going to provide the new implementation of the do encryption and do decryption, right? So this is what, this is known as the method overriding. That is what I am doing over here. So here this encryption is my superclass or a parent class, and the my encryption is a subclass or a child class. Okay, then now if you are creating one class called implementation, and there you are having a main method, and you are creating the object of my encryption e is equal to new my encryption, and if you call that e dot do encryption, okay, what it will do, it is basically it is going to call this particular method, the do encryption, which is there in my encryption class. Okay, similarly when you will call the do decryption method, it would call from the my encryption. Okay, right? So basically this is a runtime polymorphism, that here that my runtime environment will find out that which method I supposed to call. Okay, do encryption of the subclass or do encryption of the parent class. So even though, suppose if you are having the reference type of the encryption, okay, the reference type of the encryption in the previous example, if you see that the reference type of was of the my encryption, now here we are having a reference type of the encryption. Okay, so even though you will try to call the method, what what will happen at runtime? It is going to call the same method of the child class. Okay, so obviously this is possible that you can have the reference type of the superclass, but if you will call the method which is there, or the implementation is there in the subclass, then definitely it is going to call the method of the subclass if the object, if you are creating of the subclass. Okay, so in this case also that it will call the methods of the subclass. Okay, now let's see one more example. So here you can see we have a class A. Okay, class A has been extended by class B, and class B has been extended by class C. Okay, now all the classes are having the same method name, that is method, method and method. That means this is the example of the method overriding. Okay, so class C is overriding the method of class B, class B is overriding a method of class A, right? And now if you will have some another class, and if you are creating the object of class C, and if you will call that C dot method, then which method is going to be called? It is going to call this particular method. Okay, now suppose if that class is not having this method, right, the same statement is there. Suppose in class C we don't have the implementation of the method, then what is going to happen? It is going to call the method of the immediate superclass if the method is declared there. Okay, so which is the immediate superclass of class C? So immediate superclass is class B. Okay, so in this case that the C dot method is going to call this particular method. Okay, suppose in the class B also, if we don't have the implementation, then it will call the method of class A. Okay, so this is how that it is going to work, and this is known as the dynamic polymorphism. One more important concept related to inheritance is the instance of operator. So we are going to discuss about this instance of operator, right? So here you can see that we have declared the class A, which has the method having a return type void. Okay, and this method has only one statement called system.out.println class A. There is a class B extending a class A, no implementation is there in the class B. Class C extend class B, no implementation. And now we are having a class main. There I am having a main method. Okay, and I have created the object of class C and assigned the reference of the topmost superclass. Now consider that we have this statement, that is C is an instance of A. Okay, so can I say that the C is an instance of A? Yes, I can say. Okay, because that when you create the object of class C, at that time the Java runtime will create the object of all the superclasses. That means it will create the object of class B as well as the object of class A, right? So if I am specifying the reference, in that case it can say that this is the reference which is the instance of class C as well as class B as well as class A. Okay, so here this particular statement, that is C instance of A, this is a binary operator and its return type is a boolean. It can return true or false. So if that this particular reference is a reference of that this particular class, then it will return true. Okay, like this. Okay, so can I say that the C is an instance of B? Of course, that as that the class C has extended the class B and class A, I can say that the C is the instance of B as well. So in this case also it is going to return true, and C is also instance of class C. Can I say that the C is instance of object? Obviously yes, because that all the classes in the Java extend the object class. So this is also true. Okay. Yeah, so few key things that we should keep in our mind about the reference variable. So the first one is the reference variable can be only of one type, and once declared the type cannot be changed. Another one, the reference variable, it can be reassigned to other object, right? And make sure that it is not declared as a final. Okay, so reference variable type determines the method that can be invoked on the object the variable is referencing. Okay, so suppose that in the class C, if you have declared the method which is specific to class C only, which is not there in the class B and class A, then with the help of the reference variable of B or A, you cannot call that particular method. I'm going to show you the example. Okay. Next one is, let me show you the example and then I will proceed. Okay. So what is the meaning of this? So let me open the ID. I'm just creating the new class over here and giving a name that is reference demo, and let me create a class over here. I'm giving a class name that is class super. Okay, this is a super class, and here I'm giving a class that is a child class or subclass. These are the classes that we have, and here suppose if I have the public static void main method, right, and I'm going to create the reference of super s is equal to with the help of the object of sub like this. Now here suppose if I'm declaring a method, let's say that void method in super. Okay, or let me give the very simple name like method A. Okay, and here let's say that if we have like this, that just name of the method A. Okay, and inside sub also, suppose if I have method A. Okay, this is possible, and this is what, this is override. Okay, so I can write like this, that's out method A subclass. Okay, similarly here I am writing method A super class. Okay, right, and now here that I'm going to declare one more method, that is void method B. Okay, and going to copy the same statement, paste same statement over here, that is method B. Okay, now here suppose if I will create the object of new sub. Okay, so what it says, that it says that yeah, here it gives me the error that I cannot write like this. Okay, what is the reason? The reason is that the subclass and the superclass is not having any relation over here. So what I'll be doing, just I'm specifying the relationship over here by with the help of keyword that is extend. Okay, and there I'm specifying the name of the superclass. Okay, so now here you can see that the error has been gone. Okay, so here if I will try to do that sub dot method A, then it is going to work perfectly. Okay, but if I will try to do that sub dot method B, then it will give me the error. Okay, why it will give me the error? It will give me the error because this method B is not defined in the super. Okay, so the scope of method B would be limited to only child class. Okay, so now here if I will change the reference type to sub, then this error will be gone. Okay, so that is the difference, that by specifying the reference of superclass or a subclass. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. So I hope this would be clear to you that our reference variables type determines the method that can be invoked on the object the variable is referring. Okay, the next one is that the reference variable can refer to any object of the same type as the declared reference, and this is the big one, it can refer to any subtype of the declared type. Okay, a reference variable can be declared as a class type or an interface type. It is possible. If the variable is declared as an interface type, it can reference any object of any class that implements the interface. So here there should be correction that this should be a super type, not a subtype. So this is the corrected version of the PPT. Okay. Now there are some guidelines. The first one is that a class cannot extend more than one class. That means that one parent class per class. Okay. So that means that you cannot write like the class A extend class B and C. That is not possible. But multi-level inheritance is possible. Okay. That means that the class A extending class B and class B extending class C. That is possible. Okay. So however, a class can have a multiple ancestor, that is known as the multi-level inheritance. Element which are not a member of the class cannot be inherited. Okay, like the constructor, static block and instance block are not a member of class. Okay, so that means you cannot call all this stuff with the help of the reference variable of class or the name of the class. That's why these are not considered as a member of the class. Okay, so only two things could be a member of class, and those are like the data and the methods. Okay, constructor, static block and instance block are not a member of class. A subclass does not inherit the private member of the superclass. Okay, the subclass can hide the static member of the superclass by providing a new static declaration. That is possible.